So the first one was here, an impactful story is an emotion. I would like you to fall deeply and slowly, get into that emotion. Okay. So the second one is a symbol, and I would use a symbol to hook your audience in, right? A symbol is a word or an object that represents something else. So for example, the bridge we are building is not an actual one. It just means a structure to help our teams get from this point to this point, or maybe to move from a place of misunderstanding to a place of reconciliation. And to do that in your message, you should leave out some facts. And I know I'm contradicting myself here because I just said, give as many facts as possible. And now I'm saying leave it out. So this is why. Because if I were to tell you to do something, especially when you're talking about hacks, if I were to tell you to do something, you probably suspect my intention or even my credibility. And when the audience tells themselves something, they will not doubt themselves, right? So people ultimately persuade themselves into believing what they want to hear. It's just like I don't need a salesperson to convince me how good a product is because I've already done my homework and compared reviews, right? I had already convinced myself I needed this before I walk into a car showroom, for example, to buy a car, right? It's really just the other things that I might want to be enticed with. So that's what it is all about. So it's not really your job to convince them, but it is your job to give them an insight into what is possible. And that means leaving enough gaps for us to fill in an imagination kind of exercise, right? When I leave some gaps in my story, the audience naturally participates in that activity. And so I'll just talk about Day's speech right now. So Day's speech on intercultural communication is an important one. And I feel that the emotions, however, just like what I had demonstrated, were not really felt. I think you could have pushed it a little more and focus more on those emotions when you were isolated and felt lonely without your Japanese friends, right? So let's try using an indirect approach to talk about the need to understand each other's culture without giving it away too soon. So maybe for Day's case, I might use the metaphor of a game. In order for a game to be exciting, there are rules to follow. For example, you will need to collect points or complete a maze before you can get to the next higher level. And if you accidentally step on things you should not step on, you might lose points or you might even die. So let's just have a quick survey, right? Let's have a show of hands if you have played Super Mario Brothers. Have you heard of that game, Super Mario Brothers? Yeah, okay, so that's my all-time favorite when I was a kid growing up. So for Day, I'm going to share my screen, thank you. And this is what I might actually say. In life, we are there to earn social points, winning trust and gaining friendships. But when I was in Japan, I felt empty. Every day, nothing happened. I couldn't make friends. I didn't know why. I tried to engage them in social events, but they declined me. I jumped at every opportunity, like now, but nothing worked. I did not know why I couldn't get any points in life. So it was much later on that I realized that I did not know the rules of the game. There were invisible social behaviors and cultural codes that I did not understand, just like this game. I didn't know that there were invisible bricks that could give me power, or bricks that had mushrooms that could increase my size or my power. And like a novice player, I would only learn from mistakes after dying a number of times. And in the same way, after a long time of observing and of finding out, I realized that there were two masks that Japanese people wore, right? So that's when you went on to talk about your mask. And the first one is the social one called the tatamae. And this is all about politeness. And the second one is a personal one called hone. And this one reveals the true feelings of a person. And I learned that in order for me to succeed interculturally, it is important for me to know the social rules of the game, or of that foreign culture. And especially if we were to do business in that country, right? If not, it would be game over for me. Okay, so that's another example, right, of just using metaphors to really, I think it sort of helps us to connect with the audience, but it also makes us realize, oh my God, we can actually use this kind of metaphors to make quite a serious point sometimes, but it's also quite funny. So you can also make something quite serious into something quite humorous as well. Yeah. Okay, the third point I would like to raise is about time. In storytelling and public speaking, time is a factor that you can really play with, right? You can slow down time, like what we talked about, to share a really painful moment. And also in a story, you don't have to keep the story linear. You don't have to go from, this is me at age 12, 16, 21, 20, you don't have to give your CV out in a linear way, right? You can go back and forth in time, just like a movie, you have a lot of flashbacks, just like you watch something, this is what is happening, and then suddenly there's a flashback, then you come back to the main story. As long as you give enough context to the audience, they will be able to make sense of your story. So let's try Ahmad's story right now, okay? So I'm gonna incorporate the other 2 points as well, using metaphors as well as emotions, but now I'm gonna play with time. Captain Ahmad Ashraf, I'm sorry, but your physical condition renders you unfit for combat work. Your MRI and your history of 3 slip discs will mean that any physically challenging work will be impossible for you. So from today onwards, you will be desk bound. But sir, I can move and do many things. I promise I will heal and be the best officer. Yes, Captain, you will heal, but we will not take that risk. Your body has gone through enough stress, and our decision is final. Sir, does that mean that I have no more opportunities for promotion? You are right, Captain. If you had been with me at the hospital bed, you might have heard my heart break. You see my body break. But if you want to know what a heart feels like, a broken heart, that's it. That was it. You see, just 9 years ago, I was huffing and puffing to complete my 1-mile test at the military academy. I would need to complete it within 6 minutes. But guess what? I was more than 8 minutes coming in second last among the Army cadets. And I was determined to become a commissioned officer. So I trained day and night, starved myself, and lost 21 kilograms in the first month. 21 kilograms. I eventually passed my 1-mile test, but the stress fractures were so severe, I had to be on crutches for 3 months. And even when I was not fully recovered, I threw away my crutches just to make sure I could complete my mile test again. And I did. I passed. In fact, I became the top officer in the Pakistani army. And since 1971, I'm the only officer who had excelled in 4 different sports in the same year and won gold at national level in 3. As they say, you can crush the body, but you can't crush the spirit. Or at least that's what I thought. Because back in the hospital bed, my dreams, my aspirations were shattered. And my heart broke into a million pieces. How can this be happening to me? Okay, so that's the story of, that's your story, but of course, I played with time, if you realize. I've also played with intonation. At the very beginning, I tried to give it a direct speech as well, between you and whoever your superior was. Of course, I didn't know the context. You can make it real in your context. So let's see what I did there. I raised my voice at first to say, oh, no, I will heal, I will heal. And then I slowly move into, which is what I was talking about, go deeply and fall slowly into your emotions. And then I slowly paused. I had moments of pauses to also let the audience breathe in with me. If you notice that effect, I don't know whether you felt it, but as I was breathing a little bit, I was just slowing down and just speaking softly. You probably could feel the breaking of my heart. Yeah. And you don't have to be an actor to do this. It's really just understanding how your voice and intonation and just knowing pauses can have a powerful impact on your listeners. All right. Now, to summarize the 3 points I raised, focus on the emotions of the story, slow down for dramatic impact, and use a symbol or metaphor to ignite the emotions. Let me just share the last image first. All right. An impactful story slows down time for dramatic effect. So pause momentarily. And those, I believe, are the 3 and the more important pillars to engaging your audience and to position yourself as a leader whom we can trust to lead the team forward. And I started today's sharing, talking about how public speaking can be a romantic thing. You know, to fall in love with words, to fall in love with the power of words to move an audience. And that's what a good speaker does. All right, so that's my 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
Wow, I think that all of us are a bit lost for words here, I would say. Maybe, do anyone want to say something from the audience about what you have felt or what you feel, or maybe even Ahmed and Leafy, you guys, or you want to give a quick comment? And did you find it useful?
Yeah, sure. Just a very quick one. Yeah, thank you, Professor Edmund. This is so helpful and powerful way of doing a public speech. This is the first time I also know about how we can add a powerful story with like role play. Like basically, there's 2 different people. We can play the role in the public speech, and then that can help to bring the audience into the story. So this is super helpful. Well, I will definitely continue improving for that. And thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too. So I felt almost same as Lippy. So I just have experience to handle some business presentation, and not like this kind of public speech. So like, yeah, maybe I lack my emotional way. Yeah, and I really impressed that how you express your emotion. Like you're basically telling about other person's story, right? But like, I think everyone felt that like it is like as if my story, I mean your story. It was like a movie, so like I was very much impressed. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Hi, your way of telling my story was so awesome. And I'm sure that no one ever said no to you for a date as well, because so thank you for guiding us and for telling us what we should do in future to be more impactful.
Thanks, Ahmad. No, but I think it's also because you all gave me enough nuggets to use and stories and anecdotes. So if there is if your speech were to be very empty and it's just like giving facts, right, then there is really very little for me to demonstrate. So the fact that you gave me enough material to use, then it's like, okay, let's move up 1 notch to deliver a more impactful speech. So already you have done a good job, all of you.